Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Drawing Dragons with the Dragon Story. So, in today's video, I figured we'll just kind of learn the basics of drawing a dragon body. And just to keep it simple as we start, I'll probably keep to a simple profile view of a dragon, and I'll probably also keep to a more simplistic dragon design, just so we can focus on the structure and some of the anatomy and whatnot. So once again, the tools I'm using: iPad Pro, Apple Pencil, the gloves so I don't touch it, and I do have a matte screen protector on my iPad because I really like the texture of it. So to start with, and once again, I'm using Vine charcoal, both brush and eraser. And like I usually do, I just start off pretty loose. And once again, it's all down to shapes. I guess I should break this into like a multiple step video, because step one would be finding out the shapes, right? And some of the most important shapes, like an oval for the head, you want to map out the spine with a line. Usually I use a circle for the upper body and a circle for the hips. And then just kind of mapping out the spine, the neckline. And remember, we're thinking 3D shapes this entire time. And a lot of times I base my dragon designs off of somewhere like a mix, somewhere between like a horse and a lion and maybe a little bit of a dog. A lot of lions, I guess. And so if we look here, and there's going to be multiple ways that you can do legs, legs and feet. And I think that's some of the fun with dragons, is that you can look for multiple animal inspiration. You know, whether you have like a super long species or, that was weird, that looks odd. But anyway, I'm going to stick to a pretty standard design where the shoulder blade, and this just helps map out the skeleton. So you've got the shoulder blade, the upper arm, and if you look at lion anatomy, this is a lot more chunky. I'm making it a little bit more elegant. That's kind of where the horse inspiration comes from, even though a horse's leg is designed different. And then the forearm. But I think what I like about the lion inspiration is that lions have a very strong upper body build, because they're designed for grabbing onto things. And so a lot of times I like my basic dragons, I call these the naturals, more strong in the upper body. There may be other breeds that are longer and more elegant, kind of like a horse. And so sometimes you can even do where you map out the joints like that. And I think that's totally fine. But go look at an animal anatomy. We get the shoulder, upper arm, and the forearm, and then hand or paw. And I'm just loosely rounding out these shapes. And then I'll come back and do the back leg. I'm already seeing a couple of issues, but let me just finish this. And I definitely lean more towards dog legs on dragons than, say, like a lion's back leg isn't quite as extreme as this. And a lot of times I just kind of sketch in rough lines where their toes would be. And see here, you're going to have like a hip structure, the femur, knee, that's the shin or tibia, I forget what that, yeah, tibia. And then this is technically the ankle and then the foot. Very similar to a human skeleton. Okay, so one problem that I'm seeing here, if we cram in the wing, it'll be extremely tight. So let me size this down. This is why I really love digital drawing. I'm going to extend the dragon's body, and I think it was a little off. And one of the things, and just with the previous videos about wing designs, we kind of have the six-legged creature. That's why I keep these two as legs and essentially use the wings as arms. And if I imagine these creatures in flight, you know, birds will have like a chest bone that's like massive, and it's because it houses a giant, like a really large chest muscle for the flapping action. Oops, I should make that a little bit larger. And so if you look at like birds, they kind of have that design. And so I have to imagine a similar kind of large chest bone with a large, essentially it's a pectoralis muscle like on the chest that is coming up and connecting to what would be, oh, actually what I like to do, if I'm mapping that out and the shoulder joints there, how do we want this guy's wings? I map out the arms, fill those in, draw the shoulder muscle, deltoid muscle. Then as it attaches, hand, forearm. That might come down too low. That's okay, we can always fix that. But I like ensuring that there's enough muscle structure here to help give this creature flight. So as I map out these shapes, and I just kind of go over the lines, thinking about the line work. I probably should break this down into more step-by-step approach. I mean, here you're just kind of watching it, but I might need to get more specific. Yeah, see, I love trying to imagine, you know, the strength of this creature, having those muscles to pull those arms down. Whew. Okay, we got the feet. And again, I kind of use a mix somewhere between like a lion's paw and like a reptile. And I probably need to do more specific videos just on hands and feet and paws and whatnot. Because a lot of these shapes are just based off of drawing them so many times. Like once you draw them over and over and over and over again, it just sort of becomes second nature. Okay, so I feel like that body structure is looking pretty good. And obviously you want to start with the spine on the tail. And we may want to make this guy a little bit smaller. Let's finish the head. It's got the jaw. I'll keep the horns pretty standard. And a glitch. And if you need to, you can go back, sorry, I'm jumping ahead, and mapping out those shapes and then connecting those shapes with the line. Again, I like the cheekbone horn. And let's give some scales going down the spine. I almost feel like the head's a little bit small for the body, but I also think that kind of comes out too far. Okay, so I think that's looking good. And where do we want this tail to go? Maybe we'll loop it around. See, and it helps so much more to start with the spine of the tail and follow that around, and then the rest of it can follow this. Throw some feet in the back, but that's not as important. So we also have to map out our wing, the wing of our dragon. And I like to, if it's a solid flyer, I like making sure the webbing spans a good portion of its body, or even sometimes connecting to its tail. So let me erase this line. I mean, we still need that line to help map this out. So then, once again, remembering our hand, and we just kind of have to start with a finger. That may be the index. That could be the middle. And I like to imagine this first finger is closer to us, then it helps create the sense that the wing goes back in space. Let me just kind of web those. I almost think I need a, I need to replace my matte texture is getting worn down, and I think that's the cause of some of those glitches that you keep seeing. Okay, I really like that design. I think that thumb looks weird because it's like poking straight up. Oh, see? Just kind of thinking about what a thumb looks like and how the knuckles of the hands, oops, that should connect up here. That should connect here. Okay, I think that's looking pretty good. This feels a little static back here. I think there's something off with the tail. I think that knee's probably too far. And then we'll have the tail connect there. So now with the wing in place, oops, this probably has to come down here. It's a very static pose, but that's okay. We're just practicing the body structure of a dragon. Figure out what the scales look like around here. You know, and maybe we'll give some distance between the main row of scales versus the second row, because then it kind of creates like a more of a unique shape to your dragon. Okay, and then like what I always do, take it, flip it, look in a mirror, look at it upside down. Because some of the things you want to look for is make sure your drawing is indicating weight. Like it's putting pressure down right there. It's putting pressure down there. One of the biggest things that, like, the more you can focus on capture some of that gravity in your drawings, the better your drawings will be. Just trying to figure out how to make sure there's weight being put on these hands and paws. But no, I really like the structure. I like the wing, how it's connecting. I think this is a pretty solid sketch. So, and if you're doing this traditional, you want to make sure this is really light. Obviously, I love digital because I can just lighten the layer. But once I get to this point, this is where I do all the checks, check proportion, check poses, all that stuff. And once it's looking good, then I take it into final art. So I'll call this good for this video, and then I'll do another video where I just finish this. Just kind of a quick pass finish. So yeah, thanks for watching. Please check out some of my other videos. And you know what? Always reach out to me or message me if you have any questions. I'm always glad to answer those. Thanks again for watching.